I'm starting out with a block of maple here. It's 3 by 3 and about 2.5 inches thick. So I found center on both ends of it, and we'll get it in the mounted in between centers and get it trued up with a spindle gouge. So this part here is going to be the base of the box, and I'm going to go ahead and put a tenon on it so that we can grab it with the chuck and start shaping it. As far as shaping it goes, I'm not going to go wild. This is going to be kind of a cylinder box, so it's just kind of going to be straight. We'll get it hollowed out and smoothed out on the side though. So I need to put a tenon on this part. So that is where the lid is gonna slide over right there. And I'm just making the tenon, putting a little relief in the corner there, and then we'll get it hollowed out with the #1 hollower. So I went ahead and ran through all the grits on the inside, and then I'm just measuring where the bottom is, and we'll get a parting tool in there so we can set it. So I went ahead and ran through all the grits on this up to 600, and with the oil, that way it cuts down on the sandy dust. On this part I don't need to glue anything onto it, so it doesn't matter whether I put the oil on right now or not. It's just a beautiful piece of maple burl. Help support the companies that support our community. Once I had it sanded up, we'll go ahead and get it taken off of the lathe. And so I'm just coming in with the parting tool, bringing that tenon down to just, I don't know, maybe a pinky size, and then we'll cut it off so it doesn't fall off and get damaged. So to clean up the bottom of it, I just wrap this piece of tape around the jaws so that it doesn't damage it. We'll just expand them just a little bit and get that bottom cleaned up. So I brought the tailstock up just to support it while I take off the majority of the material, and then I'll pull that away here in a second. And you want to, as far as the bottom goes, you want to just cup it out just a little bit so it sits nice and flat. And then I'll go ahead and run through the grits on this. Same process. I'll use the oil on it and run through all the way to 600. Once we had that done, we can go ahead and start working on the lid. So same process here in the beginning. We're going to go ahead and put it in between centers, get it true, and make it recess on this side instead of a tenon. We'll make the tenon so we can grab a hold of it, and then we will make a recess. So I'm coming in with the parting tool here I want the walls nice and straight on the recess here so that it slides over that tenon. And I just kind of go through the process of making sure it fits nice. You don't want to oversize it so that it's slipping around on there. And then we'll clean out the center here in just a sec. And again, with the number 1 hollower, I'm just cleaning out that material. We'll get it all cleaned up and sanded. So on this part, I'm not putting any, I'm just dry sanding the lid at this point, because I do need to glue some stuff on it later on. So I'm bringing that diameter down a little bit, and I will bring the base of the box up to make sure that it's all even, and you'll see that in just a second. I just want it to be the same, so I just keep testing it, taking a little bit more off, and just keep going through that process until it's nice. Went ahead and sanded it all up, and we'll go ahead and part this off. So the inside and the outside at this point are sanded up to 600, and so the only thing we have left to do is the very top of it. So I made a little tenon there, put it on, brought the tailstock up, and so I'm going to make a recess because I'm going to turn some little inlay pieces for this. So I'm just coming in with a parting tool to get the material kind of cleaned up. I want a nice little recess in it. It doesn't have to be too deep or too thin. It just kind of depends on what kind of inlay you're going to do on something like this too. Then we'll pull the tailstock away and get that center point out here in a second, just to get that little spot in the center cleaned up. And once I had that done, I went ahead and ran through the grits and sanded it. So this little spot right here, I'm going to just bring the tenon that I made down, and I'm going to make one of the little inlay pieces. So this is just some scrap from, the excess piece from the lid. I'm going to make a little button here. So it's maple burl 2. And I'm just kind of rounding it over, nothing fancy, just kind of make like a little button. I ran through all the grits on this up to 600, and it's all dry because this is going to get glued in. Then came in with the parting tool and sawed the last little bit here off by hand, and we'll glue that in just a bit. So now I'm going to set up the joiner jig. So this is the mandrel for the jig, and these are the plates that go on it. So this is the 10-hole plate, and then we're going to put the indexing plate on there too, so that we can use double-sided tape and stick our workpiece to it. So I'm going to make the main part of the inlay out of walnut. That is going to go in the top of the lid that we just made that recess with. So the jig goes together, the main plate just threads right onto the mandrel, and then the indexing plate, you thread that onto that. So I just used double-sided tape. It works fantastic. I do this all the time. I'll put a link down below in the description on which brand I use. But I just stuck it in there, brought the tailstock up, and got it trued up. We're going to start sizing it because it needs to go into that recess. So I just kept turning the lathe off, testing it. You know, it didn't take much to get it to fit in there, but yeah, just make sure you don't make it too small, and then we'll come around the front and start cleaning that up. So, and the reason this view is like this right now, and it's just stuck on one view, is because Robin has a reaction to Walnut. So anytime I turn Walnut, she goes in the house, and I just set the camera up on the tripod. So sorry, there's no other angles or any kind of movement or anything. So I just got that all cleaned up. So with this, I'm going to run through all the grits up to 600. Get this all cleaned up, and then we're going to throw it off center here in just a second. And I will have a link down below in the description to the joiner jig. It's a neat little jig. You can do a lot of different things, pendants, earrings. So what I did is moved it from the center hole just over to the number 2 position, and then I'm going to use a pencil before I start cutting on it to size that mark for the little button we just made, and that is going to get inlaid into it. So, and with this, for doing little inlay pieces like this, the parting tool, you just use that. It works great. Make a little recess in there. And with something like this, just take your time, go slow. You know, you don't want to oversize it. So I just keep taking little bits off, checking it, come back, do it again. That way it fits in there nice. Maybe a little too nice because I had to use the double-sided tape to get it out of there. It was stuck. There we go. And I ran through the grits on that edge of that real quick just to clean all that little spot right there back up. Kind of round it over just a little bit too. And then we'll get all the pieces glued in. And with those, I just used the Type On 2, just a little bit in there, and then inlaid the walnut one in first, or glued the walnut one in first, and then the button. And once it all dried, I could coat it all down with the walnut oil, and it really just brings it to life. It's nice finish. The walnut oil soaks in. It's just gorgeous. There we go, got it all done. It's about 3 inches tall and 3 inches in diameter, and it is out of maple, burl, and walnut. So I really like doing the inlay stuff like this, so that the joiner jig makes it super easy to do little pieces like that, pendants, earrings, bottle stoppers, anything like that. It makes it super easy, and you can get super creative with it. I will put a link down below in the description to the Niles channel, so you can go check it out, because it's like there's tons of different things you can do with it. And one other thing, so somebody emailed me, so we linked the website to our YouTube channel. So down below you might see some threaded rings for urns and lidded boxes and things. Those are actually ours. Somebody was emailed and it was making sure that those were our rings. They're still being shipped by us and everything. It's just we linked a website to the YouTube channel so that they would be available. You could, you know, if you needed any. It's a work in progress. We're working on getting different things set up on it. But just keep in mind, if you're on a phone and you hit show more, it'll bring you down. You can go to any one of the little links down there and buy threaded rings, or if you're on a laptop or a regular computer, it's just right underneath the video they show up. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next time. Take care.